Hey, it's Sick Boy from the Gaminganarchist Collective, and I'm here to explain the situation in a wider context with regards to the video game promotion issue that's been going on YouTube that's got a lot of people pissed off. Now, this is going to keep rolling. This story is going to be going on and on. And you're going to find all of a sudden people are going to become more and more defensive on behalf of the YouTubers who take promotions and the companies that fund them. Now, I think it's very fair to say that you as a consumer, if you are annoyed by the fact that someone is taking money to promote a video game on top of their income, then you think that that is bullshit. That is entirely your call. And personally, I agree. I don't think you can be in any way a valid voice of reason if the thing you're discussing is paying you. It's very different if you're making ad revenue, if you're employed by a publisher, by the medium that you're writing or talking or whatever on. That's one thing. It's a very different thing when someone comes along and says, hello, this is a thing. I'm going to pay you to look at this thing and tell people what you think of this thing. Especially if they say, and be sure only to say nice things about the thing. Now here's some money. Now understandably people will be pissed. And I'm about to explain why to all the naysayers and all the frustrated people who go, oh, it goes on and that's what happens and shut up. All of you twats need to listen. Okay, so yes, almost every single one of many people's heroes are guilty of this. I'm going to link a description in the field below that covers pretty much every sacred cow going. A large number of YouTubers have been involved in these kind of engagements. Let's put it, for example, Boogie, I mentioned him before, Boogie2988 got a free Xbox One and a free PlayStation 4 in order to do a video on them. No shit he's going to say nice things about it. Even if he clearly tries to explain that he has a personal preference. And it goes, of course, wider than that. These promotions are hugely wide-ranging and they are extremely common. And outside of gaming, inside gaming, they are very, very common. And that is what people are going to start saying in defence. That it's normal, it's standard practice, there's nothing wrong with it, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. Now, I would like to teach you a couple of lessons from recent modern history. Okay. First of all, when the economy went to shit, okay, when the banks started collapsing, when they needed bailouts, when large companies were amassing huge amounts of toxic debt and governments ended up bailing out the banks, who became the bad guys? Bankers. Every single story about bad things, still talk about bankers. Bankers get bonuses, even if they do well. They still will get lambasted because it has become a major part of the public conscious that what they do is inherently wrong. And I'll repeat that. It is inherently wrong. The banking system takes risks with other people's money to make huge amounts of profit for rich people. That is inherently not a very ethical thing to do. We allow it to go on in general in society because for the most part, when the banks are doing fine, people with money benefit, therefore no problem. As soon as people start losing money, then there's a problem. You see, this is where these things happen. And a couple of years after that, around that sort of time, the last few years ago, there was an issue in the UK with our members of parliament claiming expenses. They were taking the piss. You turned out that they would be renting a second home, having a mortgage paid or rent on a second home that actually turned out that they owned and they gave away to their sister and was renting the house that they already owned. They would they would buy a house, sell it to their child, renovate it and then sell it and then charge the taxpayer for it. One guy had his moat cleaned, another guy had a duck island. Okay, it went fucking ballistic. Now it's the way that MPs have been working for decades. And it came to the public forefront. People lost their shit. People were entirely unhappy with any kind of MP expenses. Anything was considered taboo. If you claimed a penny, you were going to get fucked. Now, was the reaction disproportionate? In some cases, yes it was. Was the general feeling that it was not fair or reasonable justified? Yes it was. That is why, for example, today I did a video, the EA have been caught out, doing exactly what Microsoft had done, and arguably even worse. Because they did, I mentioned in my previous video, Need for Speed and Battlefield, knowing they were glitchy, and said, we will give you $10 per 1,000 monetized hits. So $10 for every 1,000 monetized hits, provided you don't mention the glitches. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. Now, the reason that this has to happen, naysayers, is because it will force a change in the system. And a system does need to change. We need transparency when consumer advocates... Let's just go back, give an example. Maximilian. Big advocate of Killer Instinct. Now, whether you like Killer Instinct or not is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, he was paid to endorse the Xbox One. Do you now still, can you trust him? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. If you can't, that is perfectly valid. If you can, that's again your call. But bear in mind that people have every right to feel slighted and pissed when this happens. So yeah, it's going to get out of hand. Every promotion's going to be questioned. People are going to start saying, you generally review video games and you did a bit for a film, you're a scumbag. You played a tournament as paid for by a publisher, you're a scumbag. These things are going to get out of hand and we need to bring it back, talk rationally and decide, as a society, essentially, what we consider acceptable. Because ultimately, what people who are big in the industry, who have been taking advantage of these promotions, thought was fine, as soon as the consumers hear about it, they realise we fucking hate it. Consumers don't like it in general. So that's why there needs to be a reform. It's the same thing goes on. Something we weren't breaking any laws, we were just doing this and that was fine and it was all in the spirit of fairness. No. Basically, people separated from it, looked at the situation and said, no, profiteering, get fucked. That's what happens, and that will continue to happen. So if you are one of those people who thumbs down every time somebody says something negative about a YouTuber you like, or a company you like, and say, no, they're just business, shut the fuck up. The terms are determined by the consumer. So, if you want to have your say, by all means, have your say. You should have your say, but don't you dare tell other people to shut up about it. It is their right to be pissed at this, and it's your right to not be pissed at this. But it's not your right to tell them they can't be. Alright? That's how it works. Anyway, guys, I'm going to expect this to be going on for quite some time and see practically every name get pulled through the mud. Anyone who's taken a penny is going to get torn to shreds, all in all, by the gaming community. And in time, we will heal and we will have these things resolved and we will have clear guides of practice and what you expect from YouTubers when it comes to declaring their promotions. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys later.